life is now. Why do you think so far ahead? You only make yourself mad about things that never happen. Life is now. Open your eyes and lift your head.
And what you just heard is one of the creative outputs of my today's guest. And his name is Pier Stein. Hi, Pierre. How are you doing?
Good morning from Bali. I'm doing fantastic. Thank you.
Good. Yeah, you say it. It's good morning for you, and it's good evening for me here in Brazil. It's pretty tough time difference for us today.
It's last night for you, for me. I thought, isn't it so funky that we are living in the exact same moment right now, but it's a different day at yours, and you are probably in the dark.
Yeah, it's pretty dark here, and it's pretty sun rising at yours.
Both are great.
However, Pierre, let's jump straight into it. Who are you? And describe a little bit, where are you at the moment? Where are you sitting?
Right. Well, thanks. First of all, thanks for having me on this podcast. It's really fun to talk to you before. And so, who am I? And where am I? Well, I'm in Bali currently. My name is Pier. I'm from the Netherlands, but I live in Bali, Indonesia. I am in the south of Bali in an area called Uluwatu. And Uluwatu is great because it has really, it's got a lot of nature, a lot of trees. In the evening, about 7 o'clock, there's no real street lights, so it's really dark here. And there's a lot of nature, and the cliffs here go about 100 meters high, pretty much straight into the ocean. But there are a couple, about 10 of the world's best surf spots right around the corner. So, and I'm living about a 3-minute walk here from a place called Bingin Beach. And where am I? I'm in my little room here. Nice. I'm in my little room. What I see really a garden and a pool and lots of trees and flowers, and there's a bunch of birds, and I'm having my little coffee. I'm sitting next to my desk, and I'm from the Netherlands.
Coffee, very important at the morning.
Yeah, good way to start the day. And I'm from the Netherlands because the first question was, who am I? I am a dude from the Netherlands. I guess.
What are you actually? Why are you in Bali? What are you doing in Bali? How did you end up there?
Right, good question. So, I think one way to tell it is, I was in uni in the Netherlands studying business innovation, and I always wanted to make music, but also start and run my own businesses remotely, so that I could travel and work at the same time. And actually, my grandmother is Indonesian, and which made me had a kind of a pre-love for Indonesia. And I've traveled to Bali a bunch of times when I lived in Singapore when I was 19. And I just love this place so much. I'm like the best person I can be. I sometimes miss my friends and family at home, but other than that, I just love living here. Life is slow, life is social. It's in really close to nature. You can get into the ocean whenever you want. The people are so friendly. I can speak the local language, which makes it next level special. And life's good here.
That sounds good. That sounds a little bit like my experience here in Brazil. Like life is a little bit slower.
Yeah.
It is actually. It really is.
Yeah.
People are a little bit more enjoying. And I think Netherlands and Germany are quite. Yeah, the countries are next to each other. So also the people are more or less the same. The language is more or less the same, a little bit different. Like the Netherlands speaks strange German, I guess.
Yeah, that's a way to say it. Can you get into the ocean or into nature easily in Sao Paulo?
I can, but it's a little bit far away. The Sao Paulo does not have a direct connection to to the ocean or to beaches, you need like to travel like 1 hour by car, and then you are at the coast. But you are at a really, really good and beautiful coastline there. Like the whole coastline there is beautiful.
Just a dream.
But Pierre, what are you doing in Bali? I mean, you are enjoying life there, of course you do. We heard that. But what are you? What's your profession?
Right. So I guess quality of life here is super high, and like in a practical sense, all the costs are lower, of course. So that's a bonus. Like right now, for my room, I'm paying $200 a month, and if you want to rent a scooter, it's $30 a month. So for like €1,000 a month, you're living like a king, really. And I'm running a business called Go Work Surf, which is a booking site to book co-living spaces near surf for people who travel and work at the same time and love surfing and want to live with other people who do the same. And it's pretty much
great idea.
Yeah, it takes a while before we can really get financially rewarded for it. So next to that, this is just really a place that I thrive personally, also like financially, and for work, it makes all the sense in the world to be here. So I'm happy that it's all working out.
Yeah,
I can buy some more time here.
It sounds like it sounds like when you're telling when you're describing where you actually living and how it is, it sounds like you're pretty happy where you are. Let me just get this straight. It's called Co-work Surf. It's Co-work Surf. So is it like, how can I describe it with AirBnB for people who love surfing? It's when you okay, great.
When you travel and work, it's sometimes hard to find a community that does the same, because a lot of the people who travel just travel and they like to party. Sometimes they like to party a lot. So if you're like feeling a little lonely or unproductive, it's good to be with the community that also works. And then the shared interest there is surfing. So whether you're a good surfer or just want to learn to surf, stay in one place for a couple months, bring your laptop. You can join one of the communities around the world that we have on our site. Yeah.
And also you are, like we heard at the beginning, and a small thing here, what you just heard were at the beginning like only 10 seconds from a song that Pierre wrote. And if you are curious to hear a little bit more about the song, then stay till the end then, because we will play, I don't know, half the song, I guess, or whatever you sent me from your song. How is it called? Life is now, or Life is now?
Yeah, Life is now. Yeah, it's I'm trying to
works perfectly for our podcast. Perfect.
Yeah, hope so. Yeah, it was a cool song that came out because I was really inspired by a guy called Juice WRLD. I don't know if you've ever heard his music. He died last December 2019, only 21 years old. But what inspired me the most, first of all, his voice is great, his music is great. But this guy, he was so good in freestyling. He really practiced freestyling. So he never wrote. He would straight up freestyle both the lyrics and the melody on the beat that he would get from the producer. And he made like 6 songs a day. He was only 21, and apparently when he died, he had like 2,000 like unfinished songs in his laptop. And that just inspired me so much of like, wow, this whole freestyle thing, and like just judge yourself a little less and just, just go for it, right? Like do it, finish it, and then next. And so I've been practicing freestyling a little bit more. And with this Life is Now song, this whole chorus just came out on the spot instantly. And as I sang it, I was like, damn, that works. That's so good. That's actually the original.
Yeah, that really sounds really cool. I like that song. Are you planning to become also a musician then? Because now at the moment you are kind of entrepreneur. But are you planning to make money with your songs, or is it? How is your plan, Pierre?
Yeah.
What's the plan? Do you have a plan? Not everyone has a plan.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I do. I mean, the favorite way to spend my day is like to, ideally wake up early, take the first hour for myself, and maybe if I can go for a surf, and then work. Do some ambitious work with Cowork Surf. We have a massive master plan there where to go to.
Of course.
And then have some lunch, have a chill afternoon, and then maybe in the evening make some music, meet some friends, and then sleep. Something like that. I like those days. So for music, it's cool if a lot of people hear me, but most of the gratification comes out of creating it itself and hearing the full song back and liking it. And what I want to focus on there is I always wanted to write an album, a full album. So right now I'm aiming for eight songs or so. I don't know, maybe album is 12, I don't know. But I want to write 8 songs fully and then sort of launch them so that, then I'd be pretty happy already. And there's a dude who offered.
It sounds good.
Yeah. There's a dude who offered to make
that sounds like a good plan
for his portfolio. So then I'm like, oh, cool. Now he wants to make a video, music video. So I'll just make whatever I can. I'll do the best I can and then see what happens. Yeah.
So you have open eyes, open ears for for things that just bump out of nowhere. Like, hey, I make a music video. Yeah, sure, why not? I'm creative now. I do a song today, maybe an album. I sell it or whatever. Today I'm working in my company again. Okay, Pierre. I think when you were a kid, you didn't grow up thinking about maybe I will become someone who lives in Bali, does music, surfing, has his own company for AirBnB surfing. What was the deal when you were a kid? Like, what was it? What was your dream, and how did you end up? How did you end up in Bali? Actually, was this like planned from you that you end up there, or was it developed over time?
I don't know. Well, like when I was a kid, I'm curious to hear your answer too to that question. But I loved climbing trees. I love exploring everything. I was curious about everything. I loved singing. I loved everything. I think my mom, she said she never said no to me when I tried something, but she said, yes, you can do it that way, and this way is maybe a more effective way to do it, or like a better way to do it. Which probably, if you are a parent, maybe that's really hard. I don't know, but it sounds like a good story. So I feel like I've been quite sort of supported well in like finding new ways of doing things. So that's that. I mean, I love just seeing the world without any rules as like a white blank canvas, and just seeing whatever energy I put into it, whatever I get, like seeing what I get back and trying again, learning from it. So I would say I just try to stick to that as much as possible, which led me to Bali in the end. So, yeah.
Yeah, it sounds good. But when you back in the Netherlands, when you grew up, like you did the whole thing like every other teenager. You went to school. I don't know. Did you went to study something?
Went to high school. Wasn't really my thing. I went to 3 different high schools and I actually got kicked off. And at one point,
you got kicked off high school.
Yeah, I had to go. I had to go to like this adult education because the other high school didn't really. It was just a bit too much of a hassle, I think. Which I thought of them as well, because I just think education totally like super flawed. It's amazing. I mean, at the same time, but it can be a lot better. But I did that, and I was 20 when I got my high school diploma. About 3 years after my peers, I guess. And the question in high school was always like, what do you want to be when you're older? And then you get like a list of professions, but I never got excited about any of those, basically, until when I was 20. I was in Singapore, and I was with my dad. We were sitting outside of the house. It was like this father-son chat. He used to fly a lot for work, and he would bring back whiskey from the airport. And we were sitting in front of the house with our bare feet. Like, we already finished, like, I think a whole bottle of whiskey together or something like that, or whatever was left when we started.
Wow.
But we were pretty drunk, but it was one of those chats.
Not bad.
Yeah, it was a really fun chat. It was one of those chats where I didn't finish high school at that moment just yet. I had like one subject left to finish. I thought it was a bit of a waste of time for some reason. And we basically decided, like, all right, so it's okay. Maybe high school, that whole high school route is not for you. Okay, you're working. I was working at Abercrombie and Fitch back then, so he said, just like, okay, just freaking go work and work your way up and to get a good life or something like that. And so, okay, that was the verdict of that conversation. Then we looked if we had any more other whiskey for one last little whiskey, but everything was empty. So we walked on our bare feet to the Italian restaurant on the corner, and we sat there for one more red wine, and then the place was about to close, but there was two dudes sitting next to us, and one of them asked me for a cigarette, and I gave it to him, and then we started chatting. I just moved to Singapore with my family back then. I was really lucky, and he asked for a cigarette. I gave him one, and we started chatting about, because I used to ride a mountain bike, and him too, blah, 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 blah. And then he offered me an internship at his company, which was called Auditoire, an event management agency. And I was like, I have no idea what it is, but let's do it. I really want to. He was a cool guy, and it sounded great. So I went there. I got the internship at TBWA, actually, a company within TBWA. And did that, and I got so inspired by him because he got a team of 7 really fun girls, and I was so inspired because I could just see, like, for the first time, like, life wasn't going by the rules that other people created for him. He was the entrepreneur, and I started seeing that with my ideas within the team, even though most of them are bad. But anyway, I could use my energy to create ideas and to put that energy into other people. And if it was a good idea, it would spread. So I'd see like this ripple effect around me of energy, being forwarded in other people. And those people never cared about any of the rules or like what's right or wrong, that you had in school. So I was really like, wow, entrepreneurship is this open canvas that you can totally paint on yourself. So then I got really, really inspired, and I realized, okay, all the jobs that they proposed to me in high school weren't for me because, like, my job, I wanted something that didn't exist yet. I want to create something myself. So I finished high school, then started studying business innovation, a new study. With no exams, business innovation, where we solved real company problems, and a major in social entrepreneurship. I never finished uni though, but so I was really inspired ambitiously around entrepreneurship and just solving problems, getting people excited and doing it together, and always music. So that's kind of the red thread. Yeah.
So he kind of hooked you up with the entrepreneurship at that night.
Yeah.
Like.
I wrote it to him as well. He knows. Yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, I didn't know it was possible. I never knew. Like, oh wait, you can actually start something yourself. Did you know when you were younger? Did you know that was actually an option?
I mean, you always have that in mind that you theoretically you could, but who does that? Like nobody's doing that. Like you should go to a big company or to a company. You should work your 40 hours a week, and then you should go home, and that's it. That's what it's. Search for a safe job and a secure income.
It's cool now. I think it's more common.
It's coming a little bit like
now it's more common with YouTube channels and Instagram accounts and.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's now. I think kids and teenagers are a little bit more into this whole, doing their own thing stuff. But it's going. I think they're going more in the direction of becoming an influencer or a YouTuber. So I don't know where this is all going when everybody's an influencer. Well, then I don't know. But it sounds good. I mean, then you got hooked up at this whole entrepreneurship, and you really, it really worked for you. Like this whole, I'm now my own boss, and I make the rules, and I inspire the people around me, and my energy works to energize people around me to make them see my vision.
I can follow my own curiosity.
My vision together with me.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun to create. It's not that I create my own. Like if you work together, obviously, but I love a blank canvas. Yeah. I hear that. When you were it's the same with you and you starting your podcast, I guess, right? It's your project. You can totally do whatever you want with it. You can change it any second. If you're like tomorrow you're bored of doing this, you can totally like change
that is
or whatever. Yeah, there's nobody telling you what you have to do.
It is fantastic. It is absolutely fantastic to be your own boss. And to be honest, I'm seeing this kind of, maybe this podcast is for me my personal hookup moment in this entrepreneurship things, because honestly, it is so much better to be your own boss and to decide, maybe I'm doing an episode this week, but if I'm not doing an episode, who's going to judge me? Like, it's my podcast. I can decide if I do an episode or not.
Yeah, you can.
It's so much more cooler than having a boss who tells you that you have to do an episode. And it's so much more fulfilling than some other stuff I'm doing.
In the end, we might end up with the rules of how a lot of businesses work, like the 9 to 5, but at least we fully understand why. Because we can do that. We can do that a bunch of times, but everything is you shoot your own foot if we don't work, for too much in a row, and But you have to really know yourself.
It's not for exactly. You have to know yourself, and you have to know what you want. But also, it's 9 to 5 is fine. Mm-hmm. It's nothing bad. True. It's nothing like nobody should work 9 to 5 because it's bad for you. It's like, no, it's not. You have to know yourself, and you have to know who you are and what you want. And if one of the biggest things in your life that you want, one of the biggest drivers is that you want to have security, then this is totally working for you. You should aim for a good secure job with a secure income in a big company.
Very respectable.
That is perfectly fine. Absolutely. That is the beauty of the world, and that is the beauty of every person, that we are so many people on earth and nobody's the same. That is the beauty, and that's what it's like. But you have to find out what you want. It would be a pity if after 30 or 40 years you realize that, well, maybe it's not what I wanted my life to be like. And that is not the job I wanted to. I mean, it's never too late to turn around and start from scratch.
Do you think that's a thing, though?
But the earlier,
because like it's easy to say, but I think that action reflects priority in the end, right? So it's kind of hard to go like to think back and say you would have done everything differently, because I think you've always done everything with the best knowledge you had at the time, right? You have unless it was like you were scared, irrationally scared, and knew you should have you wish you would have pushed yourself, or you were too shy. I think those things are definitely things you can learn.
Yeah. I think there are, when I look back in my life, for example, I think there are a few decisions where I would say, I'm not pretty sure why I did decide it that
Which
way.
ones?
I probably would. For example, there's one, I really regret that one. That is like now 6 years ago or 7 years, when I lived still at home with my parents, and one of my best friends at that time, she asked me, because she had to move out of her apartment, and she asked me, hey Luca, you wanted to move out of your parents' house too, like why don't we move in together, like do a shared apartment together? And I honestly, I don't know why I said no, I want to stay a little bit longer at home, because I wanted to move out, and it totally would have worked out with her, because we were so good friends, and we are still so good friends. I don't know why I said it, but that's something where I really say I should have said yes, but at the end I think, but maybe then I wouldn't be where I'm today. So I'm pretty happy on the other hand that I said no, to be honest.
I think that's the point. I think that's exactly the point. Like, it's like, if you are happy who you are and where you are today, then all the decisions in the past have led up to this point, right? So it's perfect.
Yeah.
And even being happy, it is. That's such a mental thing. It's like 50% reality, but also a lot you can fix it with your state of mind. Sometimes we zoom in on problems that are out of proportion. Okay.
For you, Pierre, were there some situations in your life where you were really down, and how did you overcome that situations?
Good question. Well, I'll tell you, the one time I was most down was that I was video calling with my now ex-girlfriend, and I wanted to show her something on Instagram, and I opened my Instagram and I saw a message from a girl that said, "Hey Pierre, this is probably going to hit you like a ton of bricks, but I'm 9 months pregnant now, and I'm probably gonna give birth to a child like either today or tomorrow, and it's highly likely to be yours." And I was like, what the hell is this? Oh no. And I met her for like 6 hours, 4 of which we slept. And she lives in South Africa, and I didn't really know her. I knew nothing about her. And she started sending me pictures and stuff, but I instantly read it out loud to my then girlfriend, because I just wanted to have it be open from the start.
Yeah.
And this was like, it was crazy. It was like all my sort of beliefs of how the world works and was like a crystal ball, and instantly it was shattered with a hammer into 1,000 pieces. Because I love kids, and I wanted to have 4 kids, and grow them up so well, and help them so well, and that was just on a drunk night to make it life like that was really not the plan. And I was like, oh no, this not karma, but I thought good. I didn't realize like bad things happen to good people, which I realized then. But in the end, I was really like, I didn't know, man. Like, I was in this job which I learned a lot from, but which wasn't really a fit for me. And as a 8 to 6, I was getting like chubby. I had my girlfriend, which was great, which was a blessing, but less time for me to figure things out. And that thing going on, and winter in the Netherlands, and blah, 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 made me feel like the best I could do was like crawl on my legs and hands, but most of the time I was just kind of just dragging myself forward. And but one morning I remember in June, I think it was June 2 years ago or something like that, two. I did a paternity test in the end after like 8 months, and I was having a coffee in the morning sun, and I was like, this was one of those days that I finally didn't think about all of that, all the whole kid situation, and I got an email in my mailbox, and I was like, that was from the DNA company that sent back the results, and I was like, oh no, I had this beautiful morning. For the first one in such a long time, I don't feel like opening this, but I quickly did anyway. I clicked and I scrolled down to the bottom, and it said probability of paternity 0%, and I was like, what? 0% that I'm the father? And instantly, I felt like the boot of life was on top of me. The best thing I could do was crawl. Instantly, when I read 0% probability of paternity, that boot was lifted off me, and I could stand up straight. I could jump. I could fly. It was crazy. I was so happy. It was never mine. And so people were like, oh, no, are you so happy? But it's never mine anyway. So it was never my problem in the first place. So, I was so happy. And that was just so crazy how that one bit of knowledge can change your whole world like that.
Yeah.
I drank a lot of beer with my parents that day, and it was so insane. My whole life changed in a single moment. Yeah, that was so. I guess 50% is
that is crazy.
Mindset,
that is a crazy
50%
story.
is reality. Yeah, but more normal lows, enjoy them because, they're part of the journey, right? As much
that
as
is a crazy story, Pierre. That is really you dodged that bullet. You did.
Now you,
Pierre. What? Yeah, no. This podcast is all about you.
Oh yeah.
Pierre. I know that you did also something crazy, but in a positive way. When I remember correctly, you like to ride your bicycle, don't you?
That sounds like that song. I like to. What is it?
Yeah, I ride my bicycle. I like to ride my bike.
Yeah, I'm not like a mega cyclist, but yeah, I did. I know where you're going. I made a bike trip from. Yeah.
Tell us
I made
the
a bike
story
trip from
about
Berlin
your bike
to
trip.
Athens. Yeah. So yeah, I don't
Brunini.
I don't necessarily love cycling, but if anyone who's listening wants to do something really, I guess it sounds maybe more radical than it is, but for me it made a lot of impact. It was the summer of 2015. Yeah. I was like head deep into uni. Lots of writing, lots of thinking. Everything was focused on the head, as they do in uni. And I got a 3-month holiday, and I was just like, I've got very little money. I want to be away for as long as I can, and for as cheap as I can. And so I bought a bicycle. I bought a bike, and I was like, okay, I have 2 months to ride it. I'll ride probably 50 kilometers a day on average. So I have 3,000 kilometers I can go somewhere. And I looked, okay, I can maybe go cycle all around Scandinavia. There's like a circle you can make through the, what are all these countries called in English? Latvia and blah, blah, blah. And then Sweden, Norway, Denmark. It's like a circle you can make there. But it was like, I don't know, I want a sun. So then I was like, okay, Berlin, Athens. That's pretty much the longest straight line I can make. Let's just do that one. I didn't want to start in Amsterdam. I didn't want to just cycle away from my own apartment. I wanted to feel like I was traveling from the start. So I just took the train to Berlin and just started cycling. Yeah, I cycled for 6 weeks and through 9 countries on my own with a little tent and a little stove, and yeah, I ended up in Athens on Syntagma Square. Yeah, where and that I just wanted to travel. I didn't want to. I just wanted to be like to feel, and to experience, and to have no plan. But I brought this.
And you had a lot. I mean, when what I can imagine is when you travel for this long with a bike on your own, you have a lot of time to think about everything, and about you, about your life, about everything, to really dig deep into your mind.
It's so true. And it was really not the goal, but I brought this book. That helped a lot. I brought this book which was called Mind Lift. What was the subtitle? Or clarity, find focus in a chaotic world, something like that. Anyway, it was all about the mind, and it really wasn't the goal to have it be like a spiritual or one of those journeys. But obviously, as you said, you have a lot of time. You have 8 hours a day to think about stuff as you cycle, and also you're super physically fit because you're like working out the whole day. So I was feeling great, and your physical state definitely has a big impact on your mental state. So I was thinking clear and very present, and I started to what is focus, and it's as much as it was a physical journey, it was a mental journey as well. And I think I told you the story. Like, there's so many lessons that came from it. Some of them during the journey, but I think most of them after being back in the Netherlands and starting with normal life again. Those learnings started rolling in, I guess, as I could compare stuff or let it sort of sink in. One of them was that I expected, so the goal for months, because it takes a bit of preparing to start doing it, for months was to end up in Athens. And so I expected, me arriving on Syntagma Square, which is the main square there, which I said, like, okay, this is going to be my endpoint. I expected that arriving there after so long to be this euphoric experience where the sky splits open and, you made it.
Yeah.
But it was, when I arrived there, it was...
Finish line, and fans are cheering for you.
Naked titties everywhere.
And a big party. You did it. Woo!
Yeah. But it was amazing because my sister was waiting for me, but it didn't feel any better than any other 100-kilometer day that I rode. And I didn't really understand that. I was like, why doesn't this feel like so amazing? And I realized, I think after it, it's like whichever goal you have, reaching it will always be the effort of the last 100-kilometer day that you did. So you're at 99 and you go to 100. So the difference is smaller, and actually, it felt just like any other 100-kilometer day. So I guess that's like to understand that every day you have a really good day. That's the reward. If you reflect on that and be grateful for it, that's going to be as powerful as reaching some far goal in the end that you set yourself. So that's really like maybe it's cheesy, but the journey is the destination. And even if you break it down, it's like every single pedal, which is getting you one pedal closer, one step closer, is successful. And to recognize that and to be internally rewarded by that. Not by the outside, but because for yourself that you made a good step forward today, is the reward. And to celebrate that a little bit with yourself, or at least be thankful for yourself to have done that. Yeah, for your podcast, to even if it's just send one message to a new person you want to interview, that's that one step. You know, it's really tiny things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's cool. That was a nice learning.
Yeah, it's one step, one pedal stroke at a time, and as you, I think it's a good picture you draw, because often we expect that when we reach a certain goal, it will be this euphoric moment and situation for us where we really are full of joy and it can't get any better. But often it is like the expectation is a little bit high when you reach that goal, because the joy you feel on the way is like that should be the goal. The joy you feel on the way, and it's not like you described it. It's like when you are at 99% and you finish your goal, you reach your goal. Like it's only 1%. You're not like jumping 20% at one step. It's only one pedal stroke. It's only one step. It's 1% till you're finished, till you're target.
Yeah, so that difference is not that much.
So that the joy should really lie on
everyday.
the way to the target, to your finish line,
and that's so
and
key.
Beyond that. Yeah,
that's so key, because
really good.
It would have been a pity if I was sad the whole way, and then when I arrived, realized that it didn't have fireworks when I arrived. You know.
Yeah, because if you only would have lived for that moment,
and then it doesn't come. Oh no, what did I do? So we can choose how to pedal as well.
Yeah, there's a really good picture you draw here, Pierre. There's a really good picture, and also it's like you experience that. It's not like something you're just saying.
Right.
It's you experience that exact feeling. And I really appreciate that you talked about that.
Thanks.
Pierre, I'm a little bit concerned because when I look at how long we are already talking, it's 45 minutes already. It is kind of a flyby with you.
I didn't record.
Joke. You did.
I said, oops, I didn't record.
Man, I would have beaten your ass.
No,
I would have beaten your ass, my friend. Pierre, is there any person that you met on your way, in your life, that you would like to hear in this podcast, or maybe many persons?
I thought about that. I thought about it because you said you might ask this when we spoke on the phone earlier. And I have two ways to answer this. One of them is like, usually I think Joe, my co-founder and friend, he's really interesting dude. But I wanted to recommend someone else, and the other day I came across Katana, whom I studied with, and I saw her post on Instagram because she's been running a podcast as well for the last 3 years, called the Changemakers podcast, in which she interviews change makers, like people regarding the global development goals and everybody who helps working towards that. So I think she's really, really inspiring in that. And I think if I thought is there someone who I haven't spoken to for a long time and I'd love to hear her story, then I think she would be a really cool one to interview. So that's the quick answer. But I have a longer answer, which is for you. I'm curious. So, do you think you could still be podcasting in 3 years from now?
Yes.
Yeah?
I think so. Because I'm doing this for 5 months now.
Oh, nice.
And it is so much fun. It is not a single recording I did, not a single minute I spent in Instagram for my podcast, creating posts, calling, writing to people, getting a little bit of promotion for my podcast. Not a single minute felt like work, to be honest. It felt like pure. That is what I want to do. That's
amazing.
That is so much fun, and it's also, I mean, it depends, of course, it depends on my guests. But if I have guests like you, man, we are talking like 50 minutes already, and the last time we talked, it was over an hour. So it's like so much fun to talk to people who are creative, who are inspiring. And it's not only inspiring for the people outside who are listening to this podcast, it is even more inspiring for myself.
Dude, you're so selfless. I love that.
Yeah,
that's great. Okay, that's cool. So you've been on it for 5 months. That's really good. You know, if we that's good.
Since
good patterns. So
since May, and
imagine,
and I think in 3 years I will. Yeah.
Imagine now. You are your 3-year older self, and
then I will be 31. Oh my God!
What? Where?
No, 30. Oh, sorry. I will be 30.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God!
Perfect.
So good at math.
I'm also 27 now. So you're 30, and okay, imagine yourself. You are somewhere. What is the most? Where do you wish to be? Let's say in the most beautiful space you've ever imagined. Okay, we're going this way. Imagine yourself being in the most beautiful place you've ever been. You're sitting down on the ground. You can close your eyes if you want to. You're sitting down on the ground, and your 3-year older self comes walking towards you. And he comes sitting down right in front of you. What does he look like? And what story is he telling you about what he's done for the last 3 years? And where is he now? What does his day look like? What does his days look like? What is he spending his time on?
This is a nice experiment. I love it. I would say if he comes to me and talks to me about him, the first thing I would really hope my 3-year-older me would still have this awesome mustache, which I am having at the moment. I really hope I can keep that up 3 years from now. But regarding working, I hope I'm still doing the podcast, and I hope I'm not working full-time anymore at my actual job. And I got something of a small business which is very creative, working on the side. And maybe I can imagine, I'm not necessarily being at home in Germany. I could imagine being somewhere else in the world.
Cool.
So that would be my 3 year from now.
Nice
vision.
So you got a mustache. Your work can be in Germany or anywhere else. Your podcast is smashing it. It's thriving. Right? And you got a small business on the side. Is that what the vision was?
Yeah, that sounds really cool, and I hope it's a cool business on the side, like where I can help people identify themselves, like find their passion, help them getting the best version of themselves, like with this podcast.
That's
writing, maybe writing a little bit.
Vision.
I like writing. I do too less writing, to be honest. I have to write more.
Sweet. All right, next question. What are the 3 core elements that make up that future? The 3 main things that you can think of to turn that future into a reality. The 3 core elements to turn that future into a reality.
The 3 core elements, I would say, to constantly step out of my comfort zone, even when I'm back in Germany, like to challenge myself. especially outside of my 9 to 5 job, especially there, because it doesn't feel like work, but it is time consuming to have a podcast. It takes a lot of time, and you have to have a lot of discipline to post every week an episode. That would be the first one. The second one is like, to keep to work on how to express my creativity, because I think I have a lot of creativity sleeping within me, and I want to work on more ways to express it and see what is possible.
I feel that.
What are my talents? What are my talents? And the third one would be probably trying to avoid someone cutting off my mustache while I'm sleeping. So.
Yeah, that's great. All right, so it was keep putting yourself out of your comfort zone, or like, all right, keep putting yourself out of your comfort zone.
Challenging myself out of the comfort zone. Yeah.
Keep exploring your creativity.
Yeah.
And fight people who want to cut your mustache.
Yes, especially that one.
Yeah. All right, cool. So what do you have to let go of to turn this future into reality, your vision?
Security. It's as easy as that, and it's as easy and it is as hard as that. Yeah, security. Like,
what do you mean by that?
Financial and job security, I guess. Like this whole German, it's not only a German thing, but it's a really German thing, like to have this stable job, 9 to 5, full-time employed, and a lifelong contract, so to say, and get the courage to step out of that, to don't work 5 days a week, to work 4 days a week, and be okay with reduced money.
Is that what you
also that is what I think I have to let loose a little bit, because when you earn a certain amount of money, you get used to that lifestyle very, very quick, I guess. And it is hard to grow back, I would say, but it is not impossible, and it is not necessarily a bad thing too. So I think it just that is, I have to challenge myself with that. I have to put myself out of my comfort zone regarding that thing.
You mentioned it's security, and you think maybe working 1 day less a week would help a lot. Is that it?
As a first step, yeah. I wouldn't say I would quit my job right away, because that would be a too harsh cut for me personally.
That sounds great.
But I think it's a big step to say, okay, I go to 4 days a week, and if it works quite fine, why not 3 days? And then why not quitting it and working? Yeah,
no, that sounds like a really good, healthy transition.
Side job.
That sounds like a well managed.
That is that sounds good for myself. For other people, it could be, no, I'm not working in this environment anymore, I have to quit now.
Maybe,
but for me, it should be a smooth transition.
So, what is the tiniest step you can do? I know it's late, that you could do right now to start that process, if you feel like that's the right thing to do? What's the smallest step? What's step one?
Smallest step.
If your vision is is step 1000, what is step 1? Have you ever thought about asking whoever you need to ask to work 4 days, or did you already do that? Or I'm just curious.
No, actually not. But I don't think it's a big deal. I could. Well, it is a big deal. Oh, good. Yeah, no. I didn't ever ask someone if it's possible, but it's in my mind for quite a few months now, or not only months, maybe.
If you would ask, do you know who you would ask,
but
and how?
Yeah, I would have to ask my boss,
Right.
because he has to agree with that whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think I would ask someone for advice other than my parents.
Yeah.
I would ask my parents because my father and my mother really started early to don't work 5 days a week, to start working 4 days, 3 days.
Wow.
And I think my mother is since 1 or 2 years not working anymore. And my father is working 2 days a week, I guess. And they are doing pretty well.
Nice.
They are enjoying life to
That's
the fullest.
fucking great. Okay.
Hey, I mean, they're good role models. Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to go towards like really big, like vision to like, is there like a tiny step we can make right now? So maybe if you say to ask your parents,
kind of a coaching session.
Yeah, that's fun,
kind of
right?
A coaching
it's
session.
Fun. So maybe that sounds like. Okay, well, actually, I have to ask you. So, what do you think is the tiniest step you can take right now to move towards those 4 days a week? The tiniest step.
Yeah, maybe it is to ask my parents, my to write my dad on WhatsApp and ask him how was it when you started working 4 days a week instead of 5.
I think that's fantastic.
And would you recommend that?
You know what? That's so freaking cool. So I guess the first. So when you asked who do you want to be on the podcast? I wanted to share one of the people that I know who would be cool, but I thought maybe you have someone to interview that's close to you that you really want to have that conversation with. And maybe so one of the options is Catalina, and one of the options for your next podcast could be your dad.
Yeah,
that's the person I would recommend.
Yeah.
To have that.
Yeah, I will for sure interview him, at least in private. Only for 4 years.
Yeah, at least in private. Cool.
Man, yeah, that was cool, Pierre. That was really cool.
Yeah, thanks.
That was a little bit unexpected, but okay, I liked it.
What a great chat! What a fun morning.
A lot. Yeah. Yeah, and a lot to think about at 10:30 in the evening. Thank you for shortening my night today. It's a pretty easy message when you look behind it. It's like be aware of your big time goal, make yourself a vision, and then break it down and start with the first step, and then things get rolling. Like always.
If you procrastinate, it's probably too big. Then go even smaller. Yeah.
That is really good advice.
Amazing, man.
Pierre,
I'm curious. Let's do another one in a year. See where you are.
Yeah, I love that. I would like to see where you are in a year and 3.
I am so curious.
Pierre, I thank you very, very much.
2021. Thank you too.
We do that. I will write that down here.
Cool.
Thank you very much for being a guest here. And also part-time moderator and interviewer. It was a lot of fun. This is probably the longest episode ever, but it is absolutely worth it. And I would say, if you want, Pierre, then make a little bit of advertising for yourself. Where do we? Where can we find your website? Where can we listen to your songs, maybe, or whatever you have? Like, the stage is yours now.
I guess I don't really use Instagram that much anymore, but maybe that's the easiest. At Pier, I like Insta, but then with a Y, and then Pier, Pier. I hope to connect with you there.
Pier. Yeah, you can also find Pierre on my Instagram account, inspirierend_anders, because he's like part of this whole Instagram podcast family now. So if you have trouble finding him, just come to me and you will find a post with our episode here. So thank you again for being here, Pierre, and sharing your story and your wisdom with us. It was really, really cool. I enjoyed it a lot to be interviewed, and not only being the interviewer.
Cool.
And now, guys, I want you to sit back and listen to Pierre's song, Life is Now. Thank you very much for listening, and we hear each other next week. Bye bye.
Life is now. Why do you think so far ahead? You only make yourself mad about things that never happen. Life is now. Open your eyes and lift your head. If you would just slow down a little bit, you'll find the beauty of this world within. Of this world within.
Purchase your tracks today.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Your perception of the world is a reflection of your mind. Our hope is beautiful and kind. Have you ever realized how magical, magical, magical this world is? Yeah. So much to love today. Life is now. Why do you think so far ahead? You only make yourself mad about things that never happen. Life is now. Open your eyes and lift your head. If you would just slow down a little bit, you'll find the beauty of this world within. Of this world within. I write the story of my life. I hold the pencil in my mind. Everything is right in front of you. You can go anywhere you want. I like your smile, the twinkle in your eyes when you're here now. And you realize you are exactly where you need to be, my dear. Just be here. Life is now. Why do you think so far ahead? You only make yourself mad about things that never happen. Life is now. Open your eyes and lift your head. If you would just slow down a little bit, you'll find the beauty of this world within.